Marvel may hold the market share of superhero movies as of late, but the DCEU is fast catching up.
Can you introduce me as Joker?
With the release of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, it's time to look beyond that red grin and see what lies ahead. DC here to prove that they can truly compete with some impressive planned releases. Put 'em up, Marvel! These guys came to throw down. Said to be released on February 7, 2020, Birds of Prey is a female-led DC phenomenon.
I'm so f***ing over clowns.
Featuring Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, this hotly anticipated follow-up to Suicide Squad will have a different tone to its predecessor. Directed by Cathy Yan, we can expect to see lots of action as Harley patrols the streets of Gotham with some of her fellow gal pals. Robbie was one of the only positive things about Suicide Squad.
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
So it's not surprising she's making a swift comeback. Shortly after Birds of Prey hits theaters, it'll be Diana Prince's turn. Wonder Woman 1984 is the sequel to the first movie, with Gal Gadot reprising her role as the Princess of Themyscira. Wonder Woman made waves on its release, gaining both critical success and a pretty penny at the box office. Fans can expect something a little different in this next caper, with Kristen Wiig starring as Diana's nemesis, Cheetah. Chris Pine will also be back as Steve Trevor, although in what capacity we don't know. Gadot and Pine had great on-screen chemistry, so could we see more of a love story happening? Ben Affleck is out, and Robert Pattinson is in for the next installment of the Batman franchise. Affleck was originally set to star and direct in the standalone movie, but gave up the chair when things didn't work out. Director Matt Reeves picked up the slack, carefully choosing Pattinson out of a group of impressive contenders. It's thought that filming will begin in late 2019 or early 2020, so it'll be a little while before we see the finished product. Expect it to be one of the biggest cinema releases of the year when it does hit theaters, though. The idea was great, but the execution was lackluster to say the least. Despite some serious hype, the 2016 movie Suicide Squad didn't live up to expectations.
What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
Jared Leto's Joker barely got any screen time, even though he was one of the main selling points. Rather than a sequel, the movie is set to be akin to a reboot, although not everyone will be returning when it drops in 2021. Will Smith is tapped out, but Margot Robbie, Jai Courtney, Viola Davis, and Joel Kinnaman are back in this James Gunn-directed feature. Let's see if the Guardians of the Galaxy mastermind can whip them into shape and deliver what should have been delivered in the first place, aka a fun and exciting movie. Jason Momoa certainly struck a chord with audiences as Aquaman,
Permission to come aboard.
bringing the DCEU its highest-grossing film to date. It didn't take the studio long to decide on a sequel, which will be released on December 16, 2022. At this point, Warner Bros. And director James Wan are focusing on the script, making sure every detail is perfect before they go ahead and start filming. Officially, Wan hasn't confirmed that he will be returning to the helm, but as the first movie was such a success, it's pretty much a given. With no release date announced, the Black Adam movie is still in the very early stages of development. Dwayne Johnson was set to play the villain in Shazam, but Warner Bros. Deemed the character too valuable. Instead, they opted to split the movies apart, making an entirely separate one for the antagonist. John Collet-Serra is directing, and due date writer Adam Stickle is in charge of the screenplay. It sounds like a great recipe to us. If anyone deserves to be in a superhero movie, it's Dwayne Johnson. You don't spend years of your life as a wrestler to waste that strength on moving furniture. For fans of Aquaman, an idea of a trench movie is like a holy grail. Director James Wan loves a horror flick or two, so Warner Bros. Is said to be capitalizing on this. Taking the trench location from Aquaman, this flick will be much darker than anything we've seen in the DCEU before. With that being said, it's still just an idea and doesn't have much substance to it yet. It'll be interesting to see if anything comes of it, but given the unique concept, it could really go either way. Even if they stick to the plan of a low-budget outing, it's a risk to take, but one we would like to see. This project has been a long time in the making.
Dostoevsky.
In fact, if things had gone smoothly, it would have already been released, but filming didn't get underway in 2017 as planned. With several changes to the production team, everything fell apart in a spectacular fashion. Ezra Miller is set to play the lead, while IT alum Andy Muschietti is allegedly coming on board as director. A new production start date of spring 2020 is in the diary, but it could be pushed back again. Shazam 2 is currently in development, with Zachary Levi back as the main man.
I'm Batman.
Kill him, Batman!
Director David F. Sandberg and producer Peter Safran are also on board again. But anything can switch on a dime in this business. You could have a job 1 minute, only for hideous old tweets to resurface getting you booted off the project. Just ask James Gunn. These things happen. Joss Whedon seemed like the guy to get the job done. After all, we know he's great with female-led stories, but sadly it wasn't to be. In 2018, Whedon bowed out of the project, saying that he simply couldn't find a story. It looks like Warner Bros. Will go down a different route now, possibly hiring a female director. They've already secured Christina Hodson of Bumblebee fame to pen the screenplay. Forget everything you think you know about the Green Lantern franchise, because this will be entirely different. It's thought that the movie will star 2 Green Lanterns. Batman Begins writer David S. Goyer and Justin Rhodes were pegged to write it, but in 2018, former head of DC Films Jeff Johns stepped up to the plate. New Gods. Sounds thrilling, doesn't it? That's because it is. This flick centers on the Jack Kirby comic of the same name. The highly acclaimed Ava DuVernay is the brains behind the operation, taking over directing duties. There are plenty of angles that she could take from the dark, mysterious story, but we'll have to wait a little while to see it. It's currently in that stagnant development mode, but we could get some news soon, seeing as Tom Krang announced his involvement earlier this year. It takes a little while to make a movie, but it looks like the ball could soon be rolling on this one. Steven Spielberg has yet to make a superhero movie, but that could all be about to change. On the back of his success of Ready Player One, Warner Bros. Was reportedly keen to have Spielberg head up Black Hawk. The plot focuses on the DC comic about a team of pilots in World War II, which has Spielberg written all over it. At the moment, the famed director is on board to produce, but word is out on whether he'll direct. He's always got something in the works, so it might be a case of the right script at the right time. Sure, there's already some serious hype surrounding Joaquin Phoenix's movie about the maniacal madman, but this Joker movie is a different kettle of fish entirely. When Phoenix's movie was announced, most of us assumed that Leto was out for good, but that's not the case. Last year, it was confirmed that Leto would be getting a chance in the spotlight too, and rightly so. However, with no director or due date, this movie's future hangs perilously in the balance and isn't promised, but we hope it comes to fruition. We got a taste of the strange and twisted relationship between Harley and her Mr. J previously, but nowhere near enough to satiate us. The duo is already iconic, but WB wants to give them a real chance to shine. Currently in development, it's rumored that John Requa and Glenn Ficarra are primed and ready to bring the project to life.
God, if you weren't so crazy, I'd think you're insane.
This romantic tale was first announced in 2017, but the ball is currently in Warner Bros. Court. Given Harley's popularity, it's likely to get a green light. We've had enough of Superman to last us a lifetime, so when will Supergirl get a shot at the big screen? It may not be too far off. In August 2018, it was revealed that the studio was putting things into motion by hiring the Cloverfield Paradox writer Oren Uziel. Other than this, there's not that much information flying around, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. Both Marvel and DC are trying to incorporate more big-name female heroes, so a Supergirl movie would be very welcome. Why have Robin when you can have Nightwing? Robin largely gets ridiculed, but his grown-up alter ego isn't to be messed with. Plans to dedicate a whole feature to the character emerged in 2017 when WB announced the Lego Batman movie director Chris McKay was part of the team. It's been teased as a badass action version of the comic character, which sounds awesome and alluring. Who better to write a movie about supernatural heroes than Guillermo del Toro, right? As perfect as the Pan's Labyrinth director would have been for the project, he's no longer directing Justice League Dark. Instead, the Bourne Identity genius Doug Liman took over the project. But he left when Marvel came a-knockin'. Now the movie is hanging somewhere in limbo, but WB is still heavily interested in making it happen, casing up some A-list talent. Not to be confused with the upcoming Birds of Prey, Gotham City Sirens focuses on Harley Quinn and some other kick-butt female characters. Catwoman and Poison Ivy are on the bill, but the project has remained stagnant for quite some time. Suicide Squad director David Ayer was rumored to be involved, with Geneva Robertson Dworak writing the script, but nothing has been heard since. With that being said, we really don't know what's going on with this one. WB were insistent that it was still happening when asked in 2017, though. When Ben Affleck was still directing and writing The Batman, True Blood's Joe Manganiello was cast as the impressive villain Deathstroke. Sadly for the actor, when Ben was out, so was he. However, Warner Brothers liked the idea of the character so much that they approached the Raid maker Gareth Evans to direct in 2017. There seems to have been a little pause on the way, and Evans himself has said he doesn't know if it'll ever happen. But we can hope. There you have it. Which one are you looking forward to the most? Sound off in the comments. Before you go, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up so we know we're loved. Oh, and hit that subscribe button too, so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, thanks for watching.